Hello people, this is the notice of criminal charge paper where I got done for the grossly indecent exposure in the turned off television reflection, but they actually didn't pursue that charge because of me pleading mental health and instability and whatever at the time, and that's obviously me. And then what it says is I was to attend at 9:30 in the morning on the 7th of August 2025. 7th of August 2025, Dudley Magistrates Court. And that was what happened there. Let me turn page without getting my address on it, obviously. And these are the charges that they actually pursued in the end. They kept having to extend my bail because they were very frightened and concerned about my mental state at the time, because I was pleading mental insanity and saying I needed to be sectioned and blah 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 blah. So they had to they only went with these two charges in the end. They wanted to charge me for something, but they didn't go with the television exposure incident. And this was where they'd come to arrest me. They'd come to arrest me for the exposing myself, and then I assaulted the female officer by slapping her across the face. Assault by beating of an emergency worker on the 10th of the 12th 2023, which is the date that people have been reporting that I exposed myself. If you think back, 2023, which is over 2 years ago now. Well, yeah, it's over 2 years ago now, isn't it? That at Dudley in the county of West Midlands assaulted PC Rachel Wigan, an emergency worker, namely police constable, acting in the exercise of her functions as such a worker by beating her, contrary to Section 39 Criminal Justice Act 1988 and Section 1 of the Assault Emergency Workers Offences, blah blah blah. And then you've got the racially, religious, aggravated, intentional harassment, alarm, distress, words and writing. That was on the 10th of the 12th, which is the date. Even Ask the Fact Freak, and he knows that is the date that I was officially exposing myself and doing the exposure in the television screen. People reported it as an emergency, and the police came instantly and arrested me on that day. In Dudley, in the county of the West Midlands, with intent to cause PC 22759 Wigan harassment, alarm or distress, use threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour or disorderly behaviour, thereby causing that of another person harassment, alarm and or distress. And the offence was racially aggravated within the terms of Section 28 of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998, contrary to Section 31B of the Crime and Disorder Act. And if you do not understand these charges, get legal advice, which obviously I did at the time. That's all they went with in the end. I think it was they couldn't safely guarantee that I was in the right stable mental frame of mind at the time. So I think that's the only things that the CPS would agree. That's the only thing that the CPS would agree. And that's just the PO box of the police, blah 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 blah. But yeah, that's the only thing that they'd agree on at the time, CPS, because they were worried about my mental state, and they couldn't prove whether I was in the right frame of mind, whether I was having a mental health crisis. They couldn't prove anything. So what they did is they went with the best charge they could come up with, which was the slapping the worker across the face that come to arrest me, and basically the racial words and being abusive. That's all they could come up with. And I've shown you that's the entire letter. That's all there is to it. I'm not hiding anything. There isn't any extra. That was just on about the procedures and who to contact and the next steps and what you're to do and notice of the charges and all useful, all different useful contacts, and just stuff like that really. And just like who you can contact and but the charges page, I showed you the 2 charges that were there, proving I was never charged with the original television screen incident, as we all know. But yeah, they kept extending the bail, extending it, as you saw from 2023. It took them until 2025 to do anything. That is seriously scary for some people, I suppose. But yeah, how they kept rebailing me. Because yeah, it was yeah, blah blah blah. And those were the 2 charges that I came up with, which is yeah, because it was virtually 2024, so it took them well over a year to make a decision, basically, the CPS. They kept rebailing me constantly, because they were worried about my mental state. They needed to prove I was in a sound mental frame of mind to be able to charge with the exposure in the television screen and all the other incidents. So that's what they needed to do. And because they couldn't prove what state of mental health I was in at the time, they couldn't do that. So that's why they came up with them. But yeah, that's generally it, really, people. That's all this video is about. And just obviously, as you can see, how much time's moved by after that. You can see how much further in the future we are, and how I'm now living a offending-free life at the moment. I can't even remember how long this criminal discharge was, because I did get a conditional discharge, sort of suspended sentence order. So she did say that if you break the law within the set time frame, she says that they'll do me for the old offences, which is them 2 offences. They'll do me for the old 2 offences as well as any new offences, which is why I haven't been breaking the law. Now people know why. But yeah, okay, people, that's about it. I'm gonna go. Bye.